Hey guys, Kevin here to bring you a brand new video where today we're going to be doing day 14 of Horror October. And the film that we're going to be talking about today is a movie called Splinter. I highly doubt many people have heard of this movie. It's definitely like a lesser known one. Like I wonder who's out there that's seen this movie because never ever heard of it prior to just stumbling upon it when I was scrolling through Amazon. But this is like a really good movie though. It's definitely got some issues in its quality, but it's really fun with all the horror stuff. Like it's got that body horror aspect to it, like movies Saw or things like that, but in a sort of weird, unique way because it's basically about this parasitic organism that can that if it attaches to you, then it feeds on you and takes control of you, and it's like becoming possessed by spikes. And you get these spike things that grow on you, and it breaks all your bones, and you basically lose control of your whole body once it takes you over. It's such a weird thing. It's so bizarre. Like at first I thought when I first saw this movie I was like Splinter. Maybe it's about killer porcupines because there was some spikes in the grass at the beginning. I was like, "Oh, maybe this is just a movie about killer porcupines." But no, it's like this weird fungus mold thing, which of course you have to have the smart biology guy who kind of explains it basically, which is a thing I'll get into with the characters. But this guy is basically breaking it down it feeds off of people basically, and just tracks them and by heat and finds them. It's bizarre, but the horror in it is so much fun, and I think the concept is cool. And this is a pretty fun movie because this thing is so dangerous, and you don't know what it's going to do, or whether or not people are going to survive it, or how they're going to get out of it. I feel like the movie does a good job at being unpredictable in that sense because there's just different beats to it where it's well, this guy might survive this, but maybe he won't, maybe he will. It's hard to really know. And with this thing, it's so dangerous and so lethal. If it has 1,000 spikes on it or whatever, if one spike touches you, you're basically dead. So it's kind of interesting. Now there are some aspects to this that aren't all that great, I will say. So the characters in this aren't exactly interesting or fascinating to look at because you basically just have very one trait type characters. You have this nerd guy who knows everything about biology and trees, and he loves trees, and he talks about the makeup of this thing. And then you have this asshole criminal guy who's he's really mean, and he's holding people hostage and whatnot. And they try to give him some character development, but I feel like that doesn't really redeem him all that much. It doesn't change much. You just still kind of hate him, and he's not that compelling just because he's just guy that hates everyone. But then there's this person named Polly. She's kind of cool. I feel like she shows a good mental toughness, and has this intuition to do what they need to do to survive. And I feel like she's the most likable character. But yeah, with all this, all of the people in this aren't even really good actors. I'll say nobody gives a notable performance really. It's pretty much just relying on the concept and horror. But I can still get with that. I think it's still really good. I will say the plot isn't all that great for a lot of this, especially early on with just like these people who are like driving, and they get stopped by like these hitchhikers, and you know, one of them has a gun, and he's like holding them at gunpoint to get out of the car, and you know, they give up their car to them, and they all like drive together. It's kind of weird. So I thought like what developed this movie was a little bit bizarre, but you know, you have this lingering thing in the background, like something's up with this thing that's, you know, going on. So yeah, it's still like really fun, and I don't want to spoil this movie because I know probably like no one has seen this movie, but like I feel like this movie does a great job at like subverting expectations, where it's like, you know, you think this will happen, but maybe it doesn't, or you know, it's like you can't really know because like, you know, this thing is so bizarre and so unique in its own way, and you're like, you never know really. So I think it's a really cool movie. I think it's definitely like worth watching. I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, this is definitely a great like B movie for sure. I'm going to give it a 7.6 out of 10. I think it's worth watching, even though it does have some flaws to it. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you have, and I'll see you guys in the next one.